So the BP oil spill happened in 2010, and it was a tragedy. It was an accident on an oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico. There was an explosion. I think upwards of 20 people lost their lives, and numerous other workers were injured. Oil then flowed unchecked into the Gulf for several months. It was the largest oil spill in world history. How do you measure the amount of environmental damage that has been done? We could talk about gallons of oil that were spilled or things like that, but the issue we face is that there's no market for a clean environment. A bird or a pelican or that's been damaged by oil, how do we put a price on that? Now, we don't want to put a price on that because, hey, we want to, sort of just buy our way out of the problem, but we need a common measure for how much damage was caused, and then that allows us to have a policy response that's of the appropriate magnitude. We really need to know that accurately and have tools to measure that accurately, so when a spill happens again in the future, as it inevitably will, we know how to respond, and we can use those tools in the future in new cases. One of the other things that we're seeing, we've done some follow-up research that's still in progress, but we're looking at the effects of the oil spill on labor markets. So we're trying to see what businesses were affected, what employees were affected. So we were surprised to find that folks in urban communities actually saw an increase in wages. Folks in rural communities saw a decrease in wages, and a pretty big one. We think this is because the folks in rural communities, those economies are more dependent on the resources in the Gulf. So think communities that depend on fishing, taking people out on charter boats, people vacationing on the beach. Those communities, the individuals that live and work in them saw the biggest decreases in their wages due to the spill. I mean, these disasters, obviously they affect the people that live in these areas most directly, but it affects all of us. It affects folks that want to go to these communities for, recreation and things like that, vacation travel, but it affects everyone who cares about the planet. Oil drilling and the effect that our consumption of fossil fuels has on the planet is a global issue. So we can't just separate this out by local or, broader world communities. It really is a policy that affects, an issue that affects everyone. And policy responses that mitigate future damages, that's going to affect all of us across the globe.